Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. House Bill 4586 makes a simple but meaningful update to our current law in the state of Michigan, and that is lowering the minimum age to obtain a concealed weapon permit, or a CPL, from 21 to 18 years old. Now, this bill does not change background checks, training standards, or disqualifying offenses. Every safeguard that exists in our current concealed carry process remains fully intact. The only change is recognizing that an 18-year-old adult, someone that has the ability to vote, pay taxes, live independently, serve on a jury, and enlist in our military, should be trusted to exercise the same right of self-defense and rights of every other law-abiding citizen. Right now, Michigan tells us that an 18-year-old soldier or Marine that are mature enough to deploy overseas and carry a service weapon for our country, but somehow is not responsible enough to carry a sidearm to protect themselves in their own neighborhood. This doesn't make sense to me. At 19 years old, I fired an M60, a .249 saw, a 50 cal, threw frag grenades, fired a rocket launcher, and shot 9mm. But if the times were at the time I was 19, I would not be allowed to buy a pistol. Ironically, too, in the state of Michigan, at 18 years old, you can buy a pistol from a private individual, but you can't walk into a store and buy one, and that seems out of order. So the truth is, young adults today face the same risk as anyone else. Many live alone, they attend college in cities, they work night shifts, and they deserve the same rights and ability to defend themselves responsibly. And so to be regulated license process that includes the same safety training and background screening, et cetera, as mentioned before. This bill ensures that responsible, trained 18-year-old to 21-year-olds can exercise their constitutional rights within the same framework as everyone else, lawfully, safely, and with accountability. House Bill 4586 is about consistency, fairness, and common sense. It's about trusting legal adults who simply meet every requirement we already have in place. It ensures that we treat them as responsible citizens, not second-class adults under the law. And in closing, we have some that believe that 16-year-olds should have the right to vote, and also children younger than that, the ability to cut off appendages on their bodies, but we won't allow an 18-year-old to have a gun. That seems wrong and is wrong. So thank you, Chair. I'm happy to take any questions from the committee.
We're going to go ahead and just go to testimony, and then we'll do questions. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Next up, we're going to have Casey Armitage, wishing to speak, supports the bill 4586, and would like a little time to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee, for hearing from me today. I am Casey Armitage, and while I may be the president of Michigan Open Carry, I am here today as a veteran's wife and a mother. My children are currently 18, 20, and 21. I have been waiting for this bill for so long, and I'd really like to see it go through. My children should have every ability to provide their own self-defense as I do. We've talked about the open carry of 18-year-olds, and while they're able to do it, this bill would clarify and help so many bad things from happening, because the difficulty that it is to legally open carry at 18 years old is incredibly difficult. Other than taking a stroll down a public sidewalk, you're very limited. You can't enter a business that serves alcohol or sells alcohol. You can't go by the schools. There's so many things you can't do. So this would really clarify and solidify our young adults to be able to carry and do so responsibly and with the knowledge that they need to do that for themselves. So as a wife and a mother, I am absolutely here in support of 4586. Please let my babies protect themselves.
Next up, wishing to speak and supports the bill, Tom Lambert of Michigan Open Carry. If you would like to approach the table, that would be great. Thank you.
Members of the committee, Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's good to see you all again. If you don't recall, last week I am Tom Lambert. I am the Legislative Director for Michigan Open Carry. I've been doing this for roughly about 15 years. I've addressed this issue a couple times privately, but I think this is my first time in committee. There are some misconceptions about Michigan open carry and open carry in general. One of those conceptions is that people who openly carry do not have a CPL. That is wrong. In fact, Michigan open carry strongly advocates that people who do openly carry a holstered pistol get their CPL. And one of the main reasons we advocate for that is all of the legal pitfalls that simply having a CPL takes off the table. One of those pitfalls is that Michigan has a 5-year felony for carrying a concealed pistol or a pistol otherwise carried in a vehicle. We are one of the most draconian states in the nation in terms of we have a very strict punishment, a 5-year felony, not a lesser felony or a misdemeanor, and we cast that felony against a very, very wide net. It's not just something loaded on your person. It's unloaded, it's anywhere around you, it's anything in your vehicle. It's an incredibly wide net combined with a very, very strict punishment. Simply having your CPL takes that off the table. Now that the weather is getting colder, we also have an issue with what you wear. If your shirt slips over the holster of the firearm, if your coat slips over the holster of the firearm, even for a moment, you can be subject to prosecution under that felony. And I'm telling you affirmatively, with strong conviction, that this felony is absolutely enforced against inner city minorities far more than anyone else. Allowing 18 to 20-year-olds not to carry, because that's not the issue on the table. They can already carry, as you've heard. Allowing them to go through the training, go through the background check, and simply get the licensing, again, to take those pitfalls off the table, whether it's carrying out in public or transportation. If you do not possess your pistol correctly in your vehicle while traveling to or from a gun range, again, you can be subject to that 5-year felony. Even though you didn't have it loaded on your person, you weren't even trying to carry it. You can still be subject to those crimes. The possession of a taser is completely off the table for these individuals. We talk about firearms. Tasers, you have to have a CPL in Michigan in order to lawfully possess one at all, even just in your home, not even outside the home. Indiana is an excellent example. Indiana offers lifetime licenses, we talked about those CPL fees, to 18-year-olds. 18-year-olds can lawfully carry concealed pistols in Michigan if they are from another state that issues to 18-year-olds like Indiana does. I'm not aware of any instance where an 18 to 20-year-old that's lawfully licensed in Indiana and lawfully carrying in Michigan has done anything nefarious in this state, let alone even in Indiana. By and large, CPL holders are law-abiding people. The data shows this all across the nation. They tend to be more law-abiding than law enforcement. They tend to be more law-abiding than the judiciary. They tend to be more law-abiding than even the legislative branches of their particular states. Madam Chair, I have a few comments on the other bills. Would you like me to reserve those or quickly get them out?
No, I can call you back up if you don't mind.
Happy to defer to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, unless there's any questions.
Rep. Wozniak.
Madam Chair, has there ever been shown a correlation between legalizing for 18s and a CPL versus unlicensed guns or illegal guns that are on the street?
Forgive me, Representative, I don't quite understand the question.
Well, usually there's a unintended consequence, like what we did with marijuana. We tried to cut down the black market. So is there a black market in guns that would be diminished by having a legal CPL?
Is the question, is there any correlation that I know of between allowing 18 to 20-year-olds to get a CPL and an increase or decrease in unlawful gun possession on the streets? Decrease. I'm not aware of any correlation one way or the other. I know this is somewhat newer. The only thing I would point to in a micro context is that the individuals who might otherwise be said to be unlawfully carrying, even though they really weren't, they didn't intend to harm anybody, their coat just happened to be covering a pistol, that's technically treated as unlawful carry, even though it shouldn't be, that we could expect to see a decrease in that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think that is the last